Farm Basics is brought to you by the Liberty Link trait and Liberty herbicide from Bayer. The most reliable weed management solution, Liberty Link and Liberty herbicide are the link to efficient row crop production and sustainable weed management.
One of the exploding markets in agriculture right now is that of biological products. So we wanted to talk about that today. Whether you're a farmer or a non-farmer, we want you to understand this whole market and the reason why it's growing so much.
Well, Brian, that word biology seems to scare me a little bit. Maybe it's because of that class that I had to take in college. I'm not sure what it is, but for some reason the term biological can be a little scary for some people. And so I thought it'd be good to talk about exactly what we're talking about here. When I think about biological type products that I use on the farm, I'm thinking about bacteria and fungi that are already present in the soil. And it's ones that scientists have figured out, hey, these bacteria really help our crops or really help our root system. These fungi actually help bring nutrients into our root system. And so for those reasons, farmers really like to use these products once they see, wow, there's going to be a yield benefit to me, my crop's going to be healthier, and all I'm doing is just putting more of what's already in the soil.
Yeah, but the whole thing is for farmers, they say, well, this is, like our dad would say, this is foo-foo dust. Because you can't see it, you don't really know what that does. You got a herbicide, you go kill a weed, it's dead, you say, wow, that was money well spent. Well, when we're talking about yield increase, and maybe it's only 2%, 5%, hey, if it was even 10% yield increase, are you really gonna visually see that difference as you're driving past your fields in the summer? No, you're not. So for the farmer, it's hard to wrap his mind around this, that, hey, this is really going to pay. And what we always tell people is, all right, if there's any investment that's small, you've got to really watch that closely on your farm, because it's not gonna show up visually. It's not gonna show up in the grain tank. You've got to really look close either at your yield monitor or weigh strips out or do something there so you get a good idea, hey, did that give me a good return on investment or not?
All right, there are a lot of companies right now looking at, all right, what are some of these natural things out there, bacteria and fungi that are already in the soil working with plants? Which ones can we identify and how can we reproduce those so we can sell them to farmers that they can apply them on fields or on gardens or wherever plants are grown to try to enhance what we're doing in the field? And as there are more companies getting involved with this, there are more products that are getting tested out there. And I agree with Brian that a lot of farmers will look at it and say, man, there's like 50 products out there. They can't all work. There's got to be some that are better than the other. And definitely there's research being done to separate which ones are good and which ones aren't. I'll give you an example though. On our farm, we've got a product that has a beneficial bacteria and a beneficial fungi. It's called Quick Roots. And we use that on our corn and soybeans and wheat every time as a seed treatment. Every time we're planting new crop, we'll put some of this Quick Roots right on the seed. We've done some plant tissue analysis on our farm, which is basically taking the leaves off plants during the growing season. We'll send them into the lab, analyze them for nutrient content, and where we're using this beneficial bacteria and fungi, we're getting more nutrients into the plant. What's happening below the soil is the fungi are actually infecting the roots, which sounds like a bad thing when you say infecting, but it's a symbiotic relationship where the roots are going to give some carbohydrates or sugars to the fungi for food, and the fungi are pulling phosphorus and other nutrients out of the soil and bringing it into the plant root. And you say, well, doesn't the plant root already grab those nutrients? Sure it does. Plant roots are out there looking for nutrients all the time, but with this beneficial fungi, they're so much smaller than even a root hair. So they can get into tiny little places in between soil particles and find more nutrients. So for farmers like us, when we see results like we're seeing with Quick Roots, we get excited about using that product and perhaps trying some other ones as well.
Well, the reason why this market is growing so much is not only the yield gains that are being seen and all this new science that's come in the last few years, but the other side of it is, let's think if you're one of these big ag chemical companies. You probably also own seed and traits, and you're working on all these different things. What's going to cost the most to put out to the marketplace? Well, they say that if I was going to develop a new pesticide start to finish, by the time I get the labeling done, all the testing, all this other stuff, we're looking at most likely $250 million and probably more. That's a lot of money. Whereas a seed trait, you're probably talking $100 to $150 million, still quite a bit of money. Then you go down to one of these biological products, because they're natural things already out there in the environment, the cost to producing those from start to finish in a lot of cases is 10 million, 15, 20 million. It's peanuts compared to those big costs for ag chemistry and traits.
So going into this crop year, you may hear some advertisements or hear people talking about biological products that farmers are using. Don't be scared by that term, what we're really saying is natural products, things like bacteria and fungi that are already found in the soil and have been discovered to be helping our crops bring in more nutrients, expand our root system faster, and all in all, grow better crops.
Well, one of the things that's not helping our crops is our weed of the week. Can you identify this week's weed?